I forgot how beautiful this was. All right, everyone, so I'm back and I am so excited to share with you guys my top 10 reads for 2022. So now that 2022 is officially over, I want to show you guys my 10 best reads that really made this year a great year for reading. I have mysteries, romance, contemporary, plenty of YA, and a couple of books that took me out of my comfort zone in terms of genre and what I actually typically read. So I'm going to go ahead and get into that list with you guys, but first I want to mention an honorable mention on my list for top 10 reads of 2022. I decided to put this one as an honorable mention because it doesn't technically get published until March of 2023. My honorable mention is A Long Stretch of Bad Days by Mindy McGinnis. I got to read an arc from NetGalley and HarperCollins Publishing. I was so excited to be able to read that because I love Mindy McGinnis, and it honestly would have been in my list of top 10s had it been released in 2022. So yeah, without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so first on my list of top 10 reads is none other than Colleen Hoover's Reminders of Him. If I am being honest with myself, this was probably my number one read of 2022 just because of how much it impacted me. I love books with a lot of emotion in them, so this book really hit me hard, in the best way, of course. And it was all about love, forgiveness, moving forward, and so many things that I loved it. So yeah, Reminders of Him. I will link down to all of my reviews for the books that I'm listing in the description. So just go ahead and check those out. Second on my list of top 10 reads for 2022 is none other than Where the Crawdads Sing by Delia Owens. So I did a book versus movie review on this, and this was by far the best movie adaptation I've seen in a while for this specific book, at least in my opinion. It feels different from the books that I typically read, even though it does have romance and it does have mystery, but it felt like not a book that I would typically go out of my way to read, but I did because of all of the hype, and I am so glad that I did. This is definitely a book that you should pick up. And if you want to see my review for it, you can either check out the video on my YouTube channel or go to my blog and check out the review, which I'll link to down below. Third on my list is A Man Called Ove. This is definitely not a novel that I typically would read. It is contemporary all the way, no romance, no mystery, but it's basically about a grumpy old man and a cat. Like I said, I love emotion. This book was full of it, and it's really great to get into the mind of someone who may not be as happy as you think that they should be. You definitely need to pick this up and read it because it is such a heartwarming and real book. It gives you a little more sympathy in life, which I always appreciate. Fourth on my list of top 10 reads is none other than The Final Gambit by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. This was the conclusion to the Inheritance Games series, and I have a video review for it, which you can see on my YouTube channel, or I'll link to it down below. Really amazing. YA mystery, definitely up my alley, and I mean this cover, am I right? You basically follow Avery as she finishes her inheritance, and I couldn't have been happier with the ending. Definitely recommend. Start with the Inheritance Games, of course, and then move on to the Hawthorne Legacy, and then The Final Gambit. Fifth on my list is Nine Liars by Maureen Johnson. We saw a lot of new releases by some of my favorite authors this year. Jennifer Lynn Barnes, Maureen Johnson, Holly Jackson, but only a couple of them lived up to tell the tale. Nine Liars, The Final Gambit, definitely one of those. I just recently posted a video review of this and I loved it. It was the perfect cozy mystery for my Christmas break, and I definitely recommend it if you've read the Truly Devious series and The Box in the Woods. Although The Box in the Woods is not necessary to pick up where this one starts. Sixth on my list is none other than TikTok sensation If He Had Been With Me by Laura Nolan. And this was a book that I bought a long time ago and didn't really pick up to read until I saw how popular it had become. So I was like, the hype has got to be because of something. It can't just be a bad book and get hyped. So I read it and I was not disappointed. all of the emotion that I could have asked for, and I definitely recommend picking up this book if you like drama, you like romance, and you like things that make you sad, because it will make you sad. Next on my list is A Thousand Boy Kisses. This one has been on my TBR list for the longest time, and I finally got around to reading it, or, listening to the audiobook. But I was literally listening to it on the way to work, and I sobbed my eyes out. I am not lying. I don't cry for books. This one made me cry. It is full of tropes, and it is full of things that are completely predictable, but I loved it anyway. And I cried anyway, even though I could tell what was going to happen at the end. So go pick this up if you need a good cry, because Tilly Cole's writing is beautiful and you're just going to want to root for Poppy and Rune. Get it. You will not be disappointed. All right, 8th, The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. This is completely out of my comfort zone. I usually don't read books like this. It felt more like a fantasy, if you can even call it that, if that's the genre that it goes in, but I really, really enjoyed it. It's a little on the bigger side than what I like. Really, my preference for story size is about 300 to 350. I don't like things that go over that just because it's so hard for me to commit to a book, especially with work and family life and friends. However, this one was amazing. I love Addie. She is a Spitfire main character, and she was amazing. You will not be disappointed in this book. It does have romance. You do get a lot of that supernatural kind of feeling to it, but it's not a bad thing. And the ending was, of course, really great. So I highly recommend this. I've seen it everywhere. Now you should go read it. Okay, so technically this next one is a reread, but I had to add it to my list just because of how amazing it is, and I completely forgot that it was this amazing. It has been at least 6 years since I read this novel, and then I reread it again in October. It Ends With Us, and oh my gosh, I forgot how much it made me feel, and I reread it, and I was like, wow, this is a good book. And for people who say that it isn't a good book, they obviously either, one, don't like Colleen Hoover and her writing style, which I can completely appreciate, or two, are being biased because so many people are talking about Colleen Hoover. But It Ends With Us is beautiful, deals with a lot of tragedy, a lot of sadness. Like I said, I really like sad books, so obviously you can tell based off of my list. The last book on my list is one that is probably the most lighthearted, if I had to say so myself, and definitely would be on the more fun side than any of my other books. And that is When Dimple Met Rishi. And I really love this book. It was cute, it was adorable, it had so many conflicting emotions between what your culture asks you to do and what your heart asks you to do, and then it merges the two, and it was amazing. This book has been out for a while, and I'm just now getting around to reading it, even though it's been on my radar for a really long time, but it was completely worth the wait. I wish I would have read it sooner because it was amazing and so cute and will leave you feeling all of the warm and fuzzies. So there you have it. That is a list of the 10 books that were my best reads in 2022. Even if they weren't necessarily released in 2022, it's books that I read in 2022 that I really enjoyed, and I think you will enjoy too if you take your time out and decide to read them. I want to hear your thoughts and opinions on my top 10 books for 2022, and if you've read any of them and what you thought of them, because they were really great. I'm going to link down in the description to all of the reviews for these books that I've read, and some of them I do have videos for, so definitely check out my channel and see if there's any reviews for the books that I mentioned. If you like this video, please subscribe to my channel. I always post book reviews, sometimes book versus movie reviews, and everything bookish. So yeah, leave me a comment down below, tell me what you thought, and I am so looking forward to 2023 and all of the great books that it will bring us.